I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, October the 15th, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef is a software that's as easy to use as your cell phone. It simplifies data recording and record keeping and allows you to produce professional reports at the touch of a button. Remember, all your historical data is always available with Performance Livestock Analytics when you subscribe to their services. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Fed cattle destined for record highs. And it's been a few months ago where we got all-time record high. We never reached 250 as a weighted average or as a base price for any area there and negotiated. We did see some 250 paid back when we reached the record high a couple months ago there. We're thinking we may surpass it this time. But, we kind of been down in the doldrums because the last month or so of the fed cattle market's been lower, and we're used to record highs all the time now because we've been getting them for the last couple of years. The Northern Plains was $5 higher last week, so we gained up quite a bit of that ground already, and the North and South are trading at a balance right now. There's not one that's selling at a premium to the other. The market's the same everywhere, but many of your feedlots, many of the market members, even some of your country packer buyers are thinking that we could gain as much as $10 this week, maybe north and south. That would be a bunch. That would be taking us from the mid 230s all the way up into the mid 240s. That would be huge, huge gains there. But if we see that, I think going 250 or better on a weighted average wouldn't come long after that. And now we're already saying, it could be as high as 270 or 80 by Christmas time. That would be a huge gain, but I don't know what's going to stop it when we've got diminishing numbers of cattle on feed and diminishing numbers of market-ready cattle. The packers have just about slashed their kills as much as they can if they want to stay in business. I think probably what we need to be thinking about now is it's not undoubtedly, but it's highly likely that we're going to see a major packing plant or one of the packing plants, one of the locations from a major packer be shut down. And it's bound to happen. I mean, the cost per head is getting insurmountable because they're not killing very many cattle. The fixed costs are the same. And it's just not working out that well. So we should be thinking about how we're going to handle that. Now, I don't know how we handle the media and calm them down, but I think if we start talking about it more and more and more, when it does indeed happen, it won't be such a shock to the industry. I think we're going to have at least one location from a major packer closed down within the central portion of the country. And I don't think it's that big a deal when it happens. They'll just move the cattle to another location and make them a little bit more efficient there. But I don't think we should get our panties all in a wad whenever that happens, because it's likely to happen. We can just hope that they don't just mothball the plant altogether. They just kind of set it at idle there where it can come back at a later time. When we get heavier supplies. All your CME cattle futures have posted contract highs, and in fact all of them did on Wednesday. All of them except for your spot live cattle futures, which was October. It was not quite there. But all the other ones that are there traded, feeder cattle and live cattle, posted all-time record highs or live contract highs. That's a big time deal there, guys. But Daily Livestock Report is saying that November feeder cattle is at an all-time record high, of course, for that contract there. And even considering adjustments for inflation. You know, everybody's always saying, oh, they're high, but they're not really that high. If we adjust the price back in the 80s or something for, no, the highest they'd ever been was back in 2014. You adjust that time for inflation, those cattle weren't nearly as high. Even if you added that on, weren't nearly as high. They're as high as they've ever been. Daily Livestock Report also estimated that we got fewer feeder cattle than we have in 30 years. Well, that's easy. That's a no-brainer. I think it's been a whole lot longer than that. But we're not having the Mexican cattle, so that's making a major impact in the southern plains there. But we're seeing all-time record highs on not just feeder cattle and not just two-way cattle, those that can go to feed or go back to grass or to wheat, not just your calves, not just your peewee, all classes of cattle are at all-time record highs. Slaughter cows are at all-time record highs. We're seeing slaughter cows bring well over $2 a pound on the hoof. We've never seen that ever before. Slaughter bulls are at an all-time record high. The only thing that's not at an all-time record high right now is fed cattle, and indeed they probably are if we figured the heavy weights that they're in, because normally they would have been discounted heavily, weighing 1,600 and 1,700 pounds plus, but not anymore. We did see several loads of cattle that were tendered for delivery against the October board at nearly 242. That is done to try to get your longs out of the market and try to back your spot live cattle contract down whenever we get into a negative basis like we've been the last few weeks here, get that more in adjustment. But you know, why wouldn't somebody just go ahead and take them if the market's going to go to 260 or 270? Take those cattle. It's going to be heifers, so take those and put some more weight on them. Sometimes it's hard to get those cattle back on feed whenever you take them out of the feedlot, wool them around a little bit, and then put them into a different atmosphere, so it may not work. But we haven't seen very many cattle tendered for delivery in the most recent past. But big time sales, I'm going to give you, of course, like I always do, a big rundown of your record prices there. Here at DVAuction, our installation crew that we've been putting into the sale barns, we're well over 130 sale barns that we broadcast every week or multiple days per week at sale barns all over the country. They went out to Mississippi to install, I think they initially went out there to install one barn. In fact, already this week they've installed DVAuction broadcasting into 3 sale barns out there that you can look for us in the upcoming days here. Meridian Livestock in Meridian, Mississippi. That's my friend Eric Weaver and my friend Molly Herring there. They've got a going sale there on a every week basis. How about Johnson Stockyards at Kosciuszko? I'm venturing there. I think that's right. If I did it with a little twang, it might be Kosciuszko. Maybe that would be a little bit better. But there in Mississippi, and also Tadlock Stockyards. I think that's the biggest sale in Mississippi there at Forest, Mississippi. So looking forward to doing business with those barns there. I want to tell you about Charolais. If you're looking for a way to improve your herds, you might look to Charolais. You can increase yield grade, increase carcass weight without sacrificing your quality grade. You can reduce days on feed, still get your weights, and provide the ability to outperform at weaning with weight gain there, guys. And you can do all that with industry approval. That's the key thing. For more information about Charolais genetics, go to poundsmatter.com. One place you can find some Charolais genetics will be at Faith Livestock Auction here today on Wednesday. They're having a calf special and they're featuring Charolais influenced calves. They heard them talk about it, and they've got to have a lot of Charolais calves in there from local producers there, ranch raised calves. There'll be black nose Charolais, there'll be buckskins, and they'll have one of my favorites, the mellow yellows. I love those Red Angus Charolais cross calves. They make the most beautiful calves there. But be looking forward to seeing some of those calves. This will be a continuation of Livestock Week there at Faith Livestock Auction. They had that huge special calf and yearling special on Monday. And then they had a special weigh-up sale on Tuesday, and now they're coming back with the conclusion of Livestock Week there with that Charolais influenced calf sale at Faith Livestock, and you can view and bid that sale at DVAuction.com. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday. October live cattle futures are up $1.25 at 241.82. December was up $1.75 at 246.50. Your back month's up $1.30 to up as much as $2.10. October feeder cattle, they took off again, up $4.67 at 380.17. That's a big bunch there. 380. That's $7-8 better than our cash index levels, guys. November feeder cattle contracts up $4.60 at 381.32. And then your back months were all up big from 395 higher to 432 higher. These feeder cattle are going to get crazier high right here in the face of the big runs of them all fall, guys. Look at your new crop corn there for December, up 2 1/4 cents a bushel at 4.13. They're just bouncing back and forth. You know, one day up a couple cents, down a couple cents. They never trade outside of a pretty narrow range. Beans for November down 1 1/4 cents at 10.06 1/2. Hard red winter wheat for December up 7 1/4 cents at 4.88 1/2. Your fed cattle trade, we have not seen any trade at all out of your major negotiated trade areas, except late on Monday or Monday afternoon. Kansas did sell a couple of hundred fed cattle there, and they brought 236. We did not achieve 236 anywhere last week, so that is a new high for this rally. And even though they sold out early, I wouldn't say they completely puked them or sold them. They might have sold them off the market, because I think we're going to be significantly higher than that. But they did get a price that wasn't achieved last week on a negotiated cash basis there. But we did have a market finder like we always do on Tuesday. You won't find it reported by the government. You find it right here, though, for every Wednesday's report. Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. They're a DV auction broadcaster. You can view and bid that sale and all their sales there at Yankton every week on DV auction, guys. They had 3,000 head for a fed cattle auction. And we're not selling that many in Kansas or Texas anymore, guys. That's a pretty big movement. It's a big market finder, and it's a good sale there every week. They have order buyers and they have railers in there, and it's just filled with buyers. It's our best market for the week in a brick and mortar auction. Market was steady to $2 higher. Conventional fed cattle sold from $234 to $239. Program cattle sold from $239 to $244. Cattle that were sold at a slaughter weight but were going back to feed sold from $245 to $255. So snappy sale there at Stockman's Livestock in Yankton. Box beef cutout values were higher but not much. Choice cuts up 51 cents at $364.42. Selects up 80 cents at $350.55. And our box beef values are bound for a little rally here. We're getting ready to start leading up to our holiday season, and with Christmas parties and people going out and all that type of thing, there's a big demand for beef cuts, even though Thanksgiving there is a big turkey day. But just for that one day, you can't stand to eat that stuff more than one day a year. But the holiday season is a big draw for people going out and eating eating well. So there'll be a run up before that gets here, as some of our retailers and some of our, our restaurants start filling their freezers in preparation for that. Slaughter so far this week, 226,000, but they slaughtered 120,000 cattle on Tuesday. That shouldn't be a big deal. We'd normally be under normal conditions 135 or 40 or more, but we haven't been seeing that biggest slaughter on a daily basis, and we did on Tuesday. Caught us back up 120,000, not that bad. But so far for the week, 226,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 9,000 more than this point last week, 18,000 less than this point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Superior Steel Sales, we talk about them all the time here. They're one of our favorite advertisers. They're on I-44 in Carthage, Missouri, right next door to Joplin Regional Stockyards and right across the highway from Specialty Risk Insurance. And I've told you about their Superior Standard livestock products there. They got all kinds of crowding tubs and panels and loading chutes and cattle guards and feeders and loading chutes, and they're really, really good products. I mean, you can set them up permanent if you want to. You can move them around or have them in a facility that you want to change up every once in a while, but they're pretty heavy and they're hell for stout, guys. But you don't have to live in Southwest Missouri to take advantage of those products. You look at this map here. This is Superior Steel Sales map of dealers that they have all over the country. And if you see one of those near you, check it out. Find out where you can go and see those products firsthand there and take advantage of those. And if you are a dealer, you own a store or a feed store or farm store there, and you handle livestock equipment, and you're in an area that is not near one of those locations, give them a call at Superior Steel Sales. They would be interested in adding some dealerships there. For more information, go to superiorsteelsales.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. The real-time index based on an 800-pound cash auction steer there at the conclusion of your Tuesday sales by DVAuction sitting at $372.97. That was up $1.34 compared to the end of Monday's activity there. So still gaining. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index has caught right back up with your RTI, and they're just a nickel a hundredweight apart, and they're at 370.302. Let's talk about your big sales that happened on Tuesday. Of course, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. That is a regional market now in the Southern Plains, guys, and it's sitting right in the Oklahoma Panhandle. I mean, that no man's land that back in the day when we were establishing states, nobody wanted that property, that little strip through there, and sometimes I call it that's our Gaza Strip right through there. I hate to say that for those people that live there, but they also called it Robber's Roost back in the old West days whenever guys would rob a bank or maybe kill somebody in a poker game or something. They were running from the law. They'd run into the Oklahoma Panhandle there because there was no law there. They hadn't set anything up. And eventually a lot of those people would end up settling there, and then they would procreate. And their descendants are the people that live there now, which may, give us a reason about why Jeff Slatton is that way, the owner and operator there at Beaver County Stockyards. But he's one of my favorites there, and he's a great guy, and he is running a going Jenny right now. We can't blame Lane Conkle. He's originally from Wyoming, so he's a transplant in there. But I tell you what, Beaver's doing a hell of a job. A lot of people are giving them hell because they have agreed to do a sale in conjunction with the American Angus Association. They're doing a Oklahoma Quality Beef Network sale there. They've had them at other sales, you know, all around Oklahoma forever. But Beaver gave them a little promotion on their social media. And of course, anything American Angus Association is poison now because the board decided to take money from the Bezos outfit, and that kind of halfway legitimized the thought that cattle are you know, horrible to the environment. But everybody's having a good time knocking on Beaver because they're kicking their ass all over the country down there. And basically they just wanted to reach some producers that they hadn't been reaching before, and wanted to find some new customers out there. And the list of folks that wanted to bring cattle to that Oklahoma Quality Beef Network sale there, there were some that they hadn't done business with, so they thought, shoot, let's get with them. And people still want black cattle. A lot of the people that are knocking them love black cattle, raise black cattle, and it's just kind of ridiculous out there the way things get to going on social media. But Beaver County Stockyards had another huge sale, 5,600 feeder cattle and calves on Tuesday. I told you they had nearly 900 cows on Monday, right there in the Oklahoma Panhandle, no man's land. The feeders looked 3 to 6 higher to me. The steer calves by the Oklahoma Market Reporter called those steer calves 10 to 20 higher, with spots 30 higher. The heifer calves 15 to 25 higher, with spots $40 higher. Beaver was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Equipment Stickout Sale of the Day. You look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central and you see your best tested weights. How about 316 head of 4-weight steers in Beaver, Oklahoma, average 452 at 502.53 on the weighted average. 390 head of 5-weight steers average 559 at 439.13. How about 513 head of 6 weights average 645 pounds at 412.01. There were 397 head of 7-weight steers in Beaver. They averaged 758 at 378.28. 1,037 head of 8-weight feeder steers averaged 855 at 368.15. And 378 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 967 with a weighted average price of 354.46. Look at some of the heifers. 271 head of 4-weight heifer calves averaged 456 pounds with a weighted average price of 425.16. There were 459 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 544 at 389.17. 518 head of the 6-weight heifers averaged 653 at 389.53. 532 head of the 7-weight heifers averaged 753 at 353.37. And 238 head of 8-weight feeder heifers in Beaver County Stockyards averaged 830 pounds with a weighted average price of 332.89. The most impressive individual quote that I saw come out of Beaver, and like I figured it was going to be on the last visit, it was on some of those Ratcliffe cattle that sell so well. 71 head, 828 pound steers bring 391.50, and that's a big time quote for where that's sitting, guys. How about Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri? 1,800 head through the ring, another 800 head through their in-house video they do with help from DVAuction there. Through the ring, the feeder cattle sold $7 to $10 higher. The calves sold $10 to $25 higher. The Pee-wee calves weighing under 4.5 bring $20 to $30 higher. I love the way that my friend Dan does those market reports there. I worked with him when he was first coming on, but he was pretty well versed, but he does a great job there of reporting that market. The most impressive quote I saw come out of West Plains was 61 steers weighed 861, bring 379, and that is an all-time record high price for 850 to 900 pound steers in Missouri. How about OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, at their calf sale on Tuesday? That humdinger, 72 steer calves weighed 576, nearly 600 pounds at $5 a pound. And that's a smoky price there. How about up in Fredonia, Kansas, my friend Brad Hahn and his crew there at Fredonia Livestock Auction, they sell 71 steers weighed 723 at $412.50. How about my friends way up in North Dakota at Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota. And it was at the West Barn, not the East Barn. They normally sell most of their feeder sales in the East Barn and their cow sales in the West Barn, but this time of year they're selling so many. They had a calf special over in the West Barn, and they sell 98 head of 470 pound calves at $559 on Tuesday there, big time quote. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, and it come from Philip the Giant in Philip, South Dakota. They sell 100 head of steers weighed 578 at $511. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.